Hey everyone, I'm continuing on with the video series on how to suture. Hope everyone's finding it useful. I did cleaning up some mess here so you don't have to see my messiness. I did order a little suture pad, so we'll see how this works today. If it's a good one, then I'll put the link in the bio, or in the description I should say, in bio's Instagram. But anyway, so got different wounds on here. Gonna show again how to do an interrupted suture, just because I feel like you need to be able to see it a little bit better on, you can see it a little bit better on this pad. I'm gonna use a black silk suture. That way it has a little bit of contrast between the tissue and the suture itself, so you can see it a little bit easier. So let me reposition the camera. Excuse me, because I don't have a cameraman, so perfect. So yeah, stupid iPhones, they don't have mine doesn't anyways. It doesn't have magnification on the selfie side. So interrupted suture, we want to be 3 millimeters away from the edge at least. So simple interrupted. So grab, these are a little bit more two pointed. These are more of kind of a suture forceps, but Addison's forceps or something like that is great for something like this. A little tissue pickup. Reposition and grab my tissue, roll through. A little bit bigger bite than I need right there, but that's fine. Leave a good tail. So like in my other videos, gather your slack up, and then we're gonna go do it the same way every time. Just figure out what direction you're starting, and then you can do that every time. So I'm going over the top away from myself, 2 wraps, grab the tail, pull tight. And on this is a 3-0, so I need to hold it for 3 seconds. If it was a 4-0, I would need to hold it for 4 seconds. If it was a 5-0, I would need to hold it for 5 seconds. So doing my best not to disturb this little tie here. I'm gonna go towards myself, and I like to just keep it simple. 2 wraps, 2 wraps, 2 wraps. This is where I'm gonna cinch everything back down again, because that second knot's gonna really help me tie that knot, close that wound up. So my third go, I'm gonna go back away from myself, 2 wraps, okay? Some people like to do, I may have already said this, but 2-1-2 or whatever. I just like to keep it simple, okay? So grab both of them together, 3 millimeter tail. Dang, I'm stupid sutures hanging everywhere. You'll find that happens. So suturing, so 3 millimeters away from the wound, leave a tail of about 3 millimeters. That way, like in the mouth, that way it lays flat. If it was really short on some of the other suture materials, like a polypropylene or something that's really stiff, that's similar to that, like some sort of nylon or things like that. Those tails, when they're really short, they can poke the tongue, they can poke the cheek, and it becomes very irritating to the patient. Okay, so now, we're going to get into the mattress sutures. So I'm going to show a vertical mattress suture here. Okay, so vertical mattress. So a mattress suture needs 2 points of contact of the suture on each side. So the interrupted suture has 1 point of contact on either side. So this one, I'm gonna go far and deep on this because I need to come through on the vertical mattress because it's a vertical suture, okay? horizontal that I'll show you in a little bit is a horizontal type of suture, okay? Okay. So I'm gonna try to go 6 millimeters away at least, just so I have 3 millimeters away on the second pass through, away from the wound and away from that other suture. That way I don't run the risk of it pulling through, okay? So, big bite and roll. I'm gonna do a little push there. Try not to grab the tip of your needle, that way it stays good and sharp. Pull through, leave a tail. You might want to leave it when you're first beginning to suture, leave a longer tail. That way you don't pull your tail through. To keep it nice and neat, I like to do my best on staying in the same plane on everything. So this one's going to be close to the wound and shallow to the wound. So I want to make sure that I don't poke an extra hole and make this tissue in between these two sutures weak. Because if you do that, then you're going to have a pull through on your suture. Ask me how I know. And then you've got to find another area to push a needle through. And typically when you're putting a suture somewhere, it's because you need a suture in that area to close the wound. So you've kind of jacked yourself on that suture placement if that pulls through. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to get that area closed if you have a pull through on the suture. So I'm going away, 2 wraps. Whoop, miss. And I'm gonna pull. And then I'm gonna go towards me. And notice how my needle driver's up and my loop is going up. So whenever I turn it over, it creates a knot. That second wrap, really pull it. So like if you notice right now, it's got a good grab on that tissue right there. So does this side, okay? Got 2 points of contact on either side. So it's a strong, strong suture. So I'm back, 3rd tie. Good. At least 3 millimeters. There you go. Okay, horizontal mattress. So obviously the name implies that it's running horizontal on the wound. Okay. The other one, vertical mattress, implies that it's running vertical on the wound. So this one, since the pass-through is going to be down here and the tie is going to be roughly about right here, I just got to be 3 millimeters away. And I can go as deep or as far away from the wound as I need to be. Get this straightened up a little bit. OCD kicking in. Okay, there's my first pass. Second pass. And this, typically you don't want to like get out here and get a big chunk of tissue all the way out to here and then drive it in. You're going to use this to create strength in a certain area. And typically for me, I don't really get much farther out than what I'm doing right here. But you just got to play with it on the wound, you know. So it's like, if it's a big honking wound, then you may need to get a little bigger bite or place multiple horizontal mattress sutures in there. So going away, my needle driver is basically up. So whenever I turn it over, I've got a knot formed, okay? So tie, pull. So you can really see how tight and strong that suture is. So one thing I want to go back and show you. So we got our 2 pass-throughs right here. So on one suture, we have 2 pass-throughs, 2 points of contact on either side, okay? So you can see this a little bit better than you can on the vertical mattress. So I really wanted to show you that. So away, 2 wraps, gonna reach and grab my tail, pull. This is really one of my favorite sutures. And then I'm gonna go towards me. And if you're asking why my thumb is got KT tape on it, about a week ago I got my thumb caught in a gi. And so it really torqued it this way and back. So this sucker swelled up like super big, and I had to get on a cortisone. I just kind of decided not to go in and get it checked. That is not medical advice for anybody else. Oh, he had his thumb taped up and ice, and he decided he didn't need to go. That's just for me. It's not for y'all. So, super strong suture. Super strong. Gonna knock that knot down a little bit, and then I'm gonna cut. There you go. So, one thing I've got to show you now, we're gonna save this rest of this suture for later. I'll probably get a continuous suture out of that one. So from this one, how are you going to get these out? Because these are super strong, super deep. So typically what I like to do is I like to cut like right around here by the knot. So it can be a little bit uncomfortable. So I'm using my left hand, so don't judge. So you're going to slide. If you feel more comfortable getting like a pair of suture cutters, it's basically got like a little loop with a for one side of the blade, and then it's got, you know, the other side of the scissors. So you just use that loop to get underneath there, and it really kind of protects the tissue. But I don't ever do that, so I just try to get my suture needle as flat as I can. I'm gonna cut it if it'll cut, and then I pull it out. Never pull the knot through the tissue. Hurts like a dog. And plus you can't hardly do it. You end up tearing the tissue up really, really good. So this one gonna be a little bit more difficult. Something you might have to get some topical on, or you might even have to numb it up if it's really tied tight. But usually the tissue, once after the wound, typically the tissue goes down after you're ready to take the sutures out, and so you don't have to really do that a lot of times, because you're dealing with really swollen tissue from in the beginning when you tie it. So you can really see how I get that suture scissor. Most of y'all probably need to just get like a suture scissors and just use those. Just make sure you get kind of a thinner pair. That way it can fit under these for these more delicate type wounds. Cut. See, that one came out easy. But the more you pull up on that knot, the more it's going to hurt the patient. So just be aware of that. So a little bit of topical on a Q-tip, just place around that suture, sometimes will help. Sometimes you might have to numb them up, depending on what their how big of a baby they are, frankly. So anyways, that's interrupted suture a vertical mattress and a horizontal mattress. Next time I'll probably show a continuous suture and a continuous locking suture. So till I get some time again to continue on with this series, I'll just see you then.